I can save a lot of hours for me myself. Like if I had to build something like ClawMetry itself, what I built, which is an observability dashboard for OpenClaw, which I built with OpenClaw again. So if I did not have OpenClaw, it would have taken me at least 2 to 3 weeks.
Everyone, welcome back to the Neuropod. Today I'm joined by Vivek Chand. Welcome to the podcast, Vivek.
Yeah, thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you on. I know we've done a little bit of chatting recently, and you're currently a tech lead at Booking.com and lots of experience building and scaling systems, which we're going to talk to you about today. But also, you've developed an AI agent observability tool for OpenClaw, which we're going to chat about. I'm really excited about that. And then, as always, we'll have a bit of fun discussing the future predictions. So yeah, thank you for joining us. Let's get into it. So yeah, would you just like to start with your journey, Vivek, and give a quick introduction to who you are all the way up to Booking.com?
Yeah. So I'm Vivek. Have kind of did my engineering back in 2011. After that, worked in a bunch of startups. I worked at a startup called Recruiter Box. Joined there as a third engineer. It was in the HR tech, kind of helping recruitment better. So basically, kind of building the whole product from the beginning, seeing the journey, multiple versions of it, and then it eventually got acquired to a bigger firm, Zaz HR. And then eventually I moved on with that experience to my own startup in the real estate space to make rental housing experience much easier for finding the landlords and the tenants and their overall journey throughout their housing period. So that was about Wellbird, but although kind of built the product and stuff, I probably did not crack the distribution well, but it was a good learning for almost 10 to 12 months. Then I moved on to ClassClap. So ClassClap was onto education tech. It was onto improving the quality of education inside the classrooms, making personalized education scalable across India. Pretty much like the first 2 years kind of built more of a MVP or like a pilot program. Yeah, kind of experimenting in a couple of schools and then expanding it from across India. So that's something I'm super proud of. So after ClassClap, I felt an urge for me to kind of work at a really large company with everything that I learned mostly in startups. So at Booking.com, I've been kind of helping on the customer support tech for the past 2.5 years, kind of leading the whole customer support AI initiative, helping build the entire pipeline to kind of give high experience for the customer support agents to support travelers across the world, kind of giving them the entire context of what their problem is so that they can solve the problem faster. So use of AI wherever possible to make the experience of travelers great. Yeah, so that's probably my journey with so far with Booking, and that's where I got hooked with this AI so much. So my LinkedIn feed is always full of all the updates coming from everything new. Like there is Claude coming with something new, and then Gemini coming with something new, and then OpenClaw came in, and probably I got hooked a bit late. Probably it happened in from December, but I got probably hooked end of Jan. So I
Yeah.
started using OpenClaw and that kind of changed a lot of things for me.
Nice. Yeah, we'll get into that. Let's save that. So I think thank you for the introduction. Really clear. Yeah, you build production systems across ad tech, HR tech, now travel. I think that there's a lot of people that are maybe leaving big tech, maybe not from Booking.com, but going into startups, and they may have been working on large scale engineering systems their whole career. What are the common threads you've seen in building production systems from smaller startups to large engineering systems like Booking, or even differences?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, end of the day, building any of these prediction systems, it's easy to get started. I mean, today's world, it's easy to integrate with a large language model or anything to build AI onto anything. But to really bring out the ROI in it's important to evaluate what's the quality of whatever it's predicting. It should be part of the system wherein you make a prediction and you also evaluate the quality of it with the eval loops. So I mean the teams or the companies that master building these eval loops really well can really make the best out of the whole AI trend that's happening. A lot of companies, yeah, I mean, are still trying to struggle to find out how to do this evals really well. I mean, if they can really figure this out, yeah, I mean, that is the deal breaker.
Yeah, exactly. And, I think coming on to an engineer, being an engineer in the current market as maybe a graduate, if you think about when you was a graduate, it's probably completely different now in terms of being a junior engineer with all the AI tools and code generation tools that are out there. What advice could you give to someone junior, or if you had someone junior joining your team to operate in the current market?
Yeah, I mean, it's important you try out every tool out there. I mean, at least get hooked to Claude Code, start building things. Don't think of yeah, somebody has to give you the requirements to on what to build. Start building whatever you wish you had. If you, I mean, today it's possible to build such applications on top of say OpenClaw or any of these new AI frameworks that are coming in. So it's important you kind of be hands on with all of these things, new frameworks that are coming in and the new coding tools. I guess that's what is most of the companies are looking for, expertise in this skill. If you're able to kind of be up to date, because upskilling yourself with the newest thing, that would be a yeah great thing to focus on.
Boom. Okay. Thank you for that. Let's talk about ClawMetry, which is an AI agent observability tool for OpenClaw. Before we get into ClawMetry, I guess let's start with OpenClaw. I'm sure everybody listening has heard of it by now, but let's start with why you think observability is important for a tool like OpenClaw.
So until now, probably we kind of had applications where it was about there were a bunch of services onto which it used to make API calls or stream data from one node to another. So we had Grafana for them, we had SLOs, everything built around it, so that dashboards and we would be able to observe what is happening. But now we are in a world where we are giving superpowers. I mean, we are getting into a world where the AI agents have become have more powers. They can get onto your computer. They once you install it, they can do everything that you can do. So I mean, the moment you give so much of superpowers, it's important you need to understand what is really happening in there, because it's no more synchronous. It is so many things can happen in parallel. There is execution, there is fetching, there is running of new commands. So it's important that an observability high observability on these kind of AI agents is important, particularly to for the security concerns that we have. I mean, the moment you give full access, I mean, if it goes and deletes something in your laptop or on your in your database, or it goes and posts something on your Twitter or in your LinkedIn, you want to be careful of that. And also that it can pretty much do anything with that thing. So that's the reason having a full visibility on what all it can do is but very much important if you want to also kind of yeah, improve your application to not burn tokens and just be focused on what it's supposed to do. Then you need to have this observability which will give you, which will tell you, which will act as a feedback. So there is one is, as I mentioned, evaluation on whatever your predictions are doing, how good is the quality of that evaluation, and how observable is your platform. Only when you can clearly see what it is doing, then your product, whatever you're building, will be kind of will work as you expected. So gone are the days where things were broken, either one of the button is broken, but now it makes a wrong decision and you get a wrong answer. So that is what is the new broken. So you need to know when it's making this wrong decision with observability tools.
Nice. And yeah, I know we chatted offline just before the podcast. You've installed OpenClaw and you're using it daily. And I think to your point at the start of the podcast, you go on LinkedIn and you see some of the use cases, and I do wonder what's true and what's not. What do you think are some of the good early use cases for OpenClaw in someone using it?
Yes, I mean, for me personally, it helps me in coding itself. I mean, like for anybody who has been using Claude Code, I would strongly recommend to try OpenClaw because it lets you have this long term context. So gone are the days where I used to open Claude Code and explain or give the context of what the feature was or what the project was. I need to just chat on my Telegram and I can say after 2 days, I can just continue on that conversation. The AI has the context and it can continue building the features. It knows how to deploy my code. It knows how to run tests, everything, right? Like, so this is something was not there with Cloud Code, at least, or with the ones. I mean, like now I'm aware that like the Cloud Code is also introducing something similar where like you have a long-term memory and can access remotely. So there are going to be more players here coming in with a similar offering, but it's important for us to kind of like make the best use of it. Like whoever is best right now. Right now it's open cloud. So yeah, so that's the good part.
Yeah, exactly. And out of interest, how much more productive would you say it has made you, or how much more efficient?
I mean, I can save a lot of hours for me myself. Like if I had to build something like ClawMetry itself, what I built, which is an observability dashboard for OpenClaw, which I built with OpenClaw again. So if I did not have OpenClaw and I had to build Claude Code with Claude Code, it would have taken me at least like 2 to 3 weeks. What I was able to build with OpenClaw with the long term context it had was pretty much over a weekend to like 3 to 4 days, I was able to build like a more kind of like usable product that I can open source and kind of like share it with others to give it a try. So it did help me reduce the time and my cognitive load. I did not have to put a lot of cognitive stress on like what to explain to Claude Code or any of the AI coding tools, but rather put my burden on OpenClaw and it was able to take it from there.
That's really interesting. Let's talk about ClawMetry then. We've all, I'm sure, a lot of us have seen some of the horror stories online. Quite a well-known safety researcher, for example, had their inbox deleted by ClaudeBot, and I think that having an agent like this without any guardrails is quite frightening to a lot of people. Do you want to just explain to people what ClawMetry is?
Yes. So ClawMetry kind of works on top of or sit next to OpenClaw. OpenClaw is your AI agent that you install on your laptop or on your VPS or anything wherever you want to play around like Mac Mini. It currently kind of like listens to or like views all the files that OpenClaw is logging into and helps you see or visualize what OpenClaw is doing so that you can in parallel see what it is thinking, what files it's accessing, what subagents it's spawning, how much tokens it's burning, everything. You get a visible dashboard. You send a message on Telegram, like just ask it like what's your name. So you can see in Clometry how it's telling your name. I mean, it's if I ask what's my name, like it's gonna tell me Vivek, but how is it gonna find out, right? Like so that I'm a curious engineer to understand how it's really finding out. Clometry tells that it's gonna look into the context that it had about the user.md and it's going to fetch that thing and print it back or send a message back on Telegram. So you get to see everything that is happening when you chat with your Telegram live with Clometry. So that's the kind of transparency it brings in. And also when you ask it to do a deep research on something about like, I mean, some AI frameworks or anything about your travel plans or sort of things. So you can see actually like OpenClaw making even like opening browsers, clicking on a bunch of things. You can see the actions in Clometry of what all it's doing. So that's the kind of visibility ClawMetry is bringing in, and it's open source. It's anybody can just like install it. It works across Mac, Linux, and Windows. It's just one command: pip install ClawMetry, and you get it running.
Nice. Yeah, I think we spoke offline. You've already had 28,000 downloads in a very
Yeah.
short period of time. So, yeah, congratulations on that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Where did you get the idea from? I know it's relatively new technology, and you've moved really quickly to develop this tool. What spawned the idea?
So I got to know about OpenClaw a bit late, as I mentioned, like probably end of Jan. Immediately I got to know. I mean, I also heard that like, yeah, don't install it on your personal laptop or on your machine or anything. I wanted to give it a try. I tried it. I was really like amazed by. So I was building a side project called Vedic Voice. It was a Sanskrit learning app. So I was struggling to build it with Claude Code. I thought like let me give it on the hands of OpenClaw, and it was able to build super quick. But I got to a point where when I send a message, I don't get a reply for a long time. And I don't know whether it's doing something or not. So probably I saw on Jan 28th, by Feb 4th, I realized, okay, this is not happening. I need some visibility tool. And then I immediately started questioning OpenClaw. What are you doing? Like, can you help me visualize what you're doing? And then it said, I'm doing all these things. Can you build a dashboard for me? And it started building a dashboard itself. And then I got a local host server running, and then eventually I asked more features on top of it, and eventually it outgrew and it became ClawMetry. So that's how it got started. It all completely was built by OpenClaw itself.
Super cool. Okay, and what are the future plans for ClawMetry? Anything else that you're going to be developing into the platform?
Yes. So the one thing that I've heard from a lot of people who are using ClawMetry is that like so they want the current version that we have, open source version, works on a local area network. So if you install it, it works only in your LAN. If you want to kind of like monitor it remotely, I personally want that. Like I don't want to like be on the same LAN and access my ClawMetry. I want it to be accessible remotely. So that's one of the pain that I have and most of them have. So we're building a managed version, like where like ClawMetry can emit events to cloud and can access it remotely. So that's the managed version that's coming in soon. And also an Android and an iOS app where I can check from my phone from anywhere what my OpenClaw is doing, and also a Mac app where like yeah I can access it from anywhere what OpenClaw is doing. And also we're planning to bring in more security monitoring in terms of like since OpenClaw can do a lot of things, and since ClawMetry is sitting next to OpenClaw and can view everything it's doing, so it is possible to have a layer where if OpenClaw tries to get prompt injected or we kind of like figure out it's getting compromised, then we can alert to the user that something wrong is happening, or if it's trying to delete everything from your file system or all of these, they can easily kind of like flag it. So these are the features that I'm kind of like thinking of building. So already I have some contributors within the since it's an open source project, so everything is going to remain open source. The only thing is that like the hosted version, it's going to be a small few for a few small dollars so that it can be accessed from anywhere in the world as well.
Amazing. Well, yeah, I'll include the links to ClawMetry in the podcast links if anyone's interested in downloading it and getting involved. You can download it there. Is there anything else you'd like to add on ClawMetry before we move on?
Yes.
Cool. Okay. Well, yeah, the last little part, I think, discussing the future. When we first started the podcast with it, we used to do predictions 2 years down the line, but I think who knows what will happen in AI in 2 years? It's moving so quickly. So, in terms of 6 months ahead, how AI agents are moving, where do you see the observability space moving, for example, and what's still missing? Because these huge benefits of having these agents, but it also carries huge risk. And I guess as more corporations adopt this kind of technology, what do you think is kind of missing for observability there?
So what I see is there are more open source frameworks or projects are going to come in. Like like OpenClaw. I mean, there is already NanoClaw, there is PicoClaw, which already has some 20K, 15K GitHub stars. So, and these frameworks are going to run on tiny hardwares like Raspberry Pi or even $10 hardware. And they're going to be everywhere, maybe 6 months to 1 year. And it's important for us to know what exactly is happening inside them. I mean, at least as a creator of it, like to know what it is really doing. It could be part of your CCTV cameras, or it could be some kind of like any device like Alexa or something like that, something similar. So it's important for the creators to know what it's really doing. So it's important to have this kind of observability. And how I see like eventually things moving on is that like as these more AI agents are coming in, it is going to be more of managing these AI agents well to ensure we don't waste tokens. Tokens should be spent in a well thought way rather than just getting burnt. It need to have this full visibility of what is really happening, and eventually you will manage more agents. Once you have this kind of observability, you can manage more agents. Like you can have OpenClaw that manages a bunch of OpenClaw agents, or with this kind of observability like ClawMetry, where you can delegate more things to AI, and that further delegates to more AI agents. So the imagination is what you need. Probably, if you can imagine it, you can build it. So that's the world we are getting into.
How do you see the wider agentic space playing out over the next year? Yeah, what are your thoughts there?
Yes. So as I mentioned, like it's gonna be more things getting automated, and probably like it's time. Like you're building a product, you need to build for two users, right? Like one is human user and also for agents. So agents are going to come to your site, come to your product. They're gonna do things on behalf of another agent or another user. So that's one primary thing to think of when you're building products. Yes, build for both the users. And this is gonna happen. Yeah, I mean, you need to also think like how your services are kind of like monitored, because you might have thought only it's like human users, but no, it's going to be a lot of AI users. You need to have that observability monitoring setup, and probably rate limits if you don't want to burn your CPU cycles. So those are things that to keep in mind when for the coming months, I'd say.
Okay. And final question, Vivek. What tools? I know you've mentioned obviously CloudBot, ClawMetry, and Claude Code. Sorry, OpenClaw. What AI tools are you using in your everyday life to stay productive? Are there any other niche or small tools that you live by?
Yeah, I mean, so currently, like I'm fully hooked to the whole open core thing, but I'm always like kind of like interested in trying out new things like Perplexity Computer, the Plot Cowork. So these tools keep improving every day, and so that I don't have to do a lot of manual setting up things. So I keep myself trying out new things that are coming in. But yeah, right now it's Perplexity Computer and Plot Cowork that I'm kind of like looking into as well in parallel to OpenClaw.
Nice. Yeah, we're currently looking at Claude Code and it looks like a great tool. So that wraps up the podcast for today, Vivek. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your knowledge and discussing ClawMetry and OpenClaw. We'll include the links to the downloads and where people can support the open source project. So yeah, thank you for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. Bye.
You're welcome.